If you've been enjoying our podcast as much as we have and hope that we continue past 50 episodes, here's your chance. Here's your chance to help make that happen. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, not only will you help the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast to live on, but you'll also get exclusive content just for you.
Here's what's in store for you. Join monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask us about anything. Whether it's about our work, personal interests, or advice on your own projects, we're here to connect and share.
Enjoy unique content created specifically for Patreon subscribers, including bonus segments from our shows.
You'll have a say in what we create, and you'll have a voice in future content.
Benefit from exclusive discounts on merchandise and entries into special giveaways. It's our way of saying thank you for your support.
Receive personalized shout-outs in videos, podcasts, or social media posts.
Because your support on Patreon allows us to dedicate more resources to creating the content that you love.
You could join the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast community on Patreon and become a Prairie patron for just $5 a month. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we cannot wait to share our ongoing journey with you on Patreon.
We are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSimiValley.com and the city of Simi Valley's belief in Little House on the Prairie and their support of the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Discover the charm of Simi Valley, California, the home of the Prairie. Visit Simi Valley, where adventure meets history and the spirit of the Prairie comes alive. Explore the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, step aboard Air Force One, enjoy stunning hikes and savor delicious local cuisine. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or a family vacation, Simi Valley offers something for everyone and is only 30 minutes from Los Angeles. Plan your visit today and experience the best of Simi Valley. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more details. Your adventure awaits in Simi Valley.
Well, hello again, bonnet heads. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast. I am Pamela Bob, your host and star and creator of Living on a Prairie. And I am here, as always, with our favorite prairie bitch, Alison Arngrim, the one and only. And we are also here with our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. I don't know if he's your hashtag imaginary boyfriend, Alison. I don't think so. But sure, I'll take this one for the team. My hashtag imaginary boyfriend.
All yours.
Dean Butler.
Hey, listen,
Hi,
the two of you.
guys.
Hi. So the two of you look wonderful for our Valentine's
This was
Day
not planned.
show.
This was
and
not
look
planned
at you.
in
I mean,
advance.
but
just
you look
threw this
like
on.
two red hearts. I mean, it's just like fantastic.
But don't we always? Really?
Well, you look, but you're really on the theme here. I'm in Butler blue, as that is my inclination. But
Yes.
you two look great.
Did not plan it.
Anything
Snatch
Butler
this off
is
the
always
rack.
good for Valentine's Day anyway, so we're good to go.
Okay.
That's
Pretty
right.
good.
This is our Valentine's Day episode. Let's talk about love, shall
Well, let's
we?
not
Love.
talk about For the Love of Blanche, please.
Lord, let's pretend that
I
never
can't wait
happened.
till we do
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Let's
Can't
just. I still can't wrap my mind around it. If Fonzie was going to jump a shark in any episode, that was the episode.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Anyway, what are your favorite episodes about love in Little House?
Allison, what about you? Yeah.
Well, I guess
Love.
do you have one, or did you love one filming one?
As much as, me and Percival, I mean, that was so much fun to do. We were so in love, and we were so perfectly matched. The Pig Farmer episode was more high comedy.
always
He was
comes
so
back to the
cute,
Pig
and it was so goofy, and Nellie was so just like stupid. She was like idiot in love, like, he's wonderful, and handing him the little viewer going, you'll like this one, it has pigs in it. It's hysterical, and the Minnesota Pig Queen. It's just, I really like the Luke one. We had fireworks and we kissed on the thing. It was, yeah.
So did filming that episode obviously it made more of an impression on you? Do you think it was because you were younger, or what do you think it was that the Pig Farmer episode made such a big impression on you?
It was the first time they let me be romantic because, Nellie had Laura and Nellie were always fighting over a boy. We were 11 and we were fighting over a boy, but none of the boys didn't like us. It was just we were fighting over a boy, and they certainly didn't like me. But somebody wanted to marry me. Somebody was in love with me. Nellie was real, and we were kissing each other's face off and stuff. And I was like, whoa, I get to be romantic and lead at 15, whatever the heck I was.
How old was he? I think you've said this.
Oh, 27. I don't know, Jesus. 35. I know.
He had such a guileless kind of quality. I mean, he just really was just a really sweet guy, is what came across.
Absolutely darling person, and
and his
he was
girlfriend
definitely
was
late
there.
20s. Yeah, that's what was funny. His girlfriend shows up on the set and see me, and she's like, "Hi, I'm his girlfriend. Hi, Miss Girl." And I'm like, please, for the love of God, tell me you do not seriously believe I am a threat.
Please, for the love of Blanche.
Please.
Yes.
Please tell me you do not seriously believe that the 15-year-old Nellie Olson is like a problem. That's not a thing.
Were you nervous kissing him? Or you were like, let's do this thing?
No, he was blonde and cute. And yes, I knew he was older, but he was so, like you said, guileless, sweet, innocent, darling. And he was a very good actor. And I also was like, as I said, I went into show business because I heard they might let me kiss people. So, I was like, hello.
Amazing. Dean, what's yours? I guess there are two categories, right? Like, what's your favorite love episode? And then what's the favorite love episode that you liked filming the most?
Well, I think the one we're going to talk about was really fun to shoot. And, I was talking about Sweet 16 because that's such a turning point moment in the series. Sad love was, Days of Sunshine, Days of Shadow, I mean, with the depression and, but love survived in that one. This one we're going to talk about is fun because it's got a lot of yin and yang in it. And so fun for Valentine's Day. But take us there.
All right. I will also say my favorite love it. I think once Almanzo hits the scene, we're good. We're golden. Those are like my favorite years, or the Almanzo years, for sure. And the person. Come on, Laura Ingalls Wilder with Percival come. Those two episodes, forget about it. But honorable mention to what's the flashback scene where we see young Carolyn and young Pa.
Yes.
And that story
Matt
is
Laborteaux
also,
is young
oh my
Charles,
gosh,
and,
just so
very sweet.
And not expected and just so wonderful, but. Yeah, I was the kid that was like, let's get to the later years where there's love. Yeah, I was into it. Okay, all right.
I think fans really loved it too, and I think it. Never mind. I will talk about that in a second.
Okay,
I'm jumping.
Put a pin in that. Yes, put a pin in it. We'll come around back to that. All right. I love the love episodes and so many other episodes in so many ways. And coming up, we're talking about today's special love episode, just in time for Valentine's Day. But first, we are coming to you from, not the studios of UBN Go, but produced by the studios of UBN Go in Burbank, California. This is the Little House 50th Anniversary Podcast, Season 2 Recap. All right. Okay, this is going to be fun. Today we're talking about our episode that's on our list, number 49. It's definitely love story, but it was a bumpy ride for Laura and Almanzo in Divorce Walnut Grove style.
Yeah,
Dean, give us the synopsis.
Yeah, Divorce Walnut Grove style was episode 7 of season 7, premiered on November 10th, 1980, written by Don Ballock, directed by Michael Landon.
Who was Don Ballock?
So Don Ballock was
he
one of
wrote
our
a bunch.
staff writers, and I think I drove all of these guys crazy because I always wanted to know what was coming next. When I had breaks on this, I was always heading to the office and working my way to the back to get to the writers to find out what was coming next. And these guys were all, John Dugan and Don Ballock were so great when they were working on something that I was involved in, so great about sharing what was coming.
So they knew what was coming next. It wasn't like just being worked out in the room. They had a plan for this season.
I went in to see Don on this one, and others like Wilder and Wilder went to see John Dugan and then Don Valak on this one that we're talking about, and they were well into the polishing of these scripts. So then this was going to be like the next thing that came to us as white pages on the stage 2 days before you were going to start shooting it. So I loved talking to these guys. And
the reason why I asked is because sometimes you hear that once they get to know the actor more, then they write for the actor and things sort of change and shift, right? To accommodate the strengths and what the fans like. And
Yep.
So it's interesting to know if things had changed or whether they had a plan and they stuck to that plan. I mean, obviously, he was going to end up with Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Right. Kind of hard not to.
I mean, absolutely.
Really
I think when fans,
from that.
when Almanzo was introduced at the beginning of season 6, people who read the books and knew the books knew what was coming. I mean, it just was a question of how we got there.
Right.
Michael didn't do it the way Laura wrote it. He did it the way he did it.
Right.
And this was one of those episodes. Once they got there, Alison, we were talking about this. One of the things about this episode that has always sort of bothered me is the sort of unnuanced way in which Laura and I fought with each other. When Michael and Karen fought, there was always love. There was always a cushion, a bubble of love underneath the argument. Melissa and I just went at it. It was...
It was from the very beginning of your relationship. I mean, I remember thinking like, oof, they're in trouble, girl. Like, girl, you in trouble if this is the guy you're marrying right now. Because both of you need to be in couples therapy and work this out.
Yes.
Because
Almanzo, Laura.
You don't fight fair. You're both too feisty. And that's
you fly off the handle over everything. And Laura's coping method for conflict since the show began, I will turn and run across the prairie, brains flying, perhaps all the way to Tuolumne, Sonora, California, and climb a mountain. But run! It's like, what? And then as an adult, just, I gotta go. And run down a door. Like, no! Who can do that? No.
They both mellow out later on, but in the beginning years, I'm not joking. I remember thinking like, this is not good. This is not good news. How they're functioning right now. We should say the synopsis before we start talking.
Yeah.
So Alison, so tell us
to explain
how this was.
What are we doing?
This was not a ChatGPT one, right? By the way,
another one of these. Okay, but it's true. It's true here. Newlyweds Laura and Almanzo have been having some relatively harmless arguments lately, but it reaches a whole new level when Laura suspects that he's cheating on her, which, by the way, she just kind of always did every 5 minutes for absolutely no reason. But okay.
Correct.
Decides to leave him. Elsewhere, Charles is the proud owner of a beautiful new glass window, but installing it is a little more challenging than he anticipated because we have to have ha-ha. And
it's so funny.
It's a wonderful runner. It's a wonderful B-story runner that they put into that.
You are super young in this, and in real life, because I just saw this episode. I just randomly saw this episode a few days ago. For you, it's just crazy. The real Laura Ingalls Wilder was extremely opinionated and had a heck of a temper and was feisty as all get out and absolutely gave Manley the business. And they probably had some severe arguments because she did not back down. And he liked that about her. And in the real life and in the book, he pursued her more than him. And she initially had said things about, well, I don't know that I'm ever getting married. So the real Laura, it's not impossible that this was their relationship. That is not impossible.
This is an argument in my household every now and then. Like, woman, why haven't you cooked him a dinner? And I'm like, I'm busy. I have a job. You can cook your damn self. That's a common argument.
And hasn't every woman, even women who like cooking, even women who've agreed to, yes, I'm going to cook dinner, gone, not today, okay? No, I didn't make dinner now because it's yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny, like, but that tone of the arguments. I think, Pamela, what you just said about they didn't fight fair. They didn't fight like. No. They had they were committed to coming out on the other side of this.
No,
all right.
Because you were dumb kids.
Yeah.
And you both are feisty, which is also why you work so well together. But girl.
I mean, it was
I will say,
we had some. She and I had some tough days on that set working together.
Really?
I mean, it was like. It was bang, bang, bang.
But also, how old was she? Again, teenager, and having been teenager girl on set myself, I had a distinct advantage. Now, people would say, oh, terrible thing to say. You can't say everything is biological, but once a month, things would be extraordinarily difficult. It would be like, I got to take about another 8 Tylenol, and it's very hard to go to work in Simi Valley where it's 110 degrees and we're all this close and work all day and when you're having, and it's difficult. Now, I had the advantage that if I didn't feel we're up to it, it would often be an episode where I was being particularly awful. And as the great Catherine McGregor always used to say, use it. And right. I did. Yeah. And I absolutely can. I mentioned in my book, I can go through episodes and go, yep, that was my time month, and that was my time month, and that episode. So it does happen.
Funny.
Melissa was a teenage girl, and things happen. And if she's having like rampant PMS and having to be on this show where she's like technically responsible for the employment of like 300 people, and she's 16.
And also, Dean Butler,
And then there's this guy, and I gotta kiss him, and I don't know what's happening. She's gonna have maybe a mood swing or two.
Was it? It was constant though. Like there was never a time where you were like, finally we sort of settled into.
No, I think that there were
groove.
points. There were points when we did. I think that there was, when we stepped into season 9, I think there was a commitment that we had to do this together because
get on with it.
Well, and also she finally went through puberty by season 9. I mean, hello. I mean, this is
and everything got much easier when she started dating. By the way,
yes,
I think
of course.
I think it got much easier.
She had a real boyfriend,
for sure.
It's
fun. I started watching this episode and I was like, season 7 brought to you by, finally she's going through puberty. Finally. Like, my God, thank God.
But we do go at it in this, and I've read comments on chat boards and all that. I mean, people really looked at this one and thought she was younger, more immature in this one than she was when she was 11 or 12.
I have seen people comment, why is Laura being such in this episode? Insert inflammatory epithet there. They're like, oh, wow, she was really mad. She was so mad at you. And what got me was the whole thing. She sees you, talking to this woman. It's just like the wiping
Brenda
the
Sue,
water off the showgirl's back ridiculous freaking story. And and the woman looks remarkably like the showgirl that was in the episode that she accused you of cheating. And she beats her up. She goes full on like it's Nellie and Laura. She's rolling around the street with a blonde
Jerry
chick.
Springer.
Again.
It is full on Jerry Springer. You are exactly right.
With all of her students around her watching
the kids
their teacher.
cheering them, yelling them on. It's like, oh my God,
you got
what
my
is
man
happening here?
Yes, cringe. Also, just honorable mention to that school scene where she's a very, very, very bad teacher.
Oh yeah, she won't tolerate this bad performance. Right.
And I just want to say there is a hilarious clip on YouTube that's been up there for years of that scene.
Really?
And the title of the clip in all caps is just worst period teacher period ever. Because she's awful. I mean, if a teacher ever acted that, like, my God, bad news.
Albert tries to soften the moment. Yeah, he blows him right out of the room. It's like, oh, come on. Yeah,
and it's her own brother
I was going to say, on the upside of this, I got to sing a little bit, which was, was sort of fun. Not sing well, but I did get to sing a little bit.
Cute.
And at the end, I get to really fake playing the guitar badly.
That was awesome.
He fake played the violin, so I think you're allowed to fake badly play the guitar.
Right, but Pa was installing the window, and the music supervisor, we're jumping way to the end of this.
I know.
The music supervisor came up to me this was a really, nice woman, very attractive. She came up to, she asked me very deliberately, as she's trying to figure out what to play for real to cover the guitar in this. She's saying, what were you doing with this? What were you hearing in your head? Because I have no idea how we're going to play this, because the strumming makes no sense at all. And I said, well, I don't play the guitar, so it's not surprising that but it had tempo on it, but it was tempo that made no sense musically. And I think she really wrestled with this. And when I saw it, I said,
just cursing you in the studio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sure.
And I thought you faked guitar better than Pa faked violin, because many people who study the violin, played professionally, or even people who took it for 5 minutes in school go, yo, he is not playing the violin.
Yeah.
No.
Play the violin to know. When your fingers aren't even touching the strings, you're not really playing the violin. I mean, it was bad.
And I think that Michael just was, I think Michael probably, his thinking, well, I'm just imagining, he's thinking, I've got so much on my plate.
Sure. But no one really cares.
I do not have time. And what he did,
break a rib and get it over with.
He just did it with such energy.
Yes.
That you and smiling, and you just, because with Michael, that charm, you just forgave it. But I can't believe the number of people who have come up to me through the years and asked, did Michael really play the violin? Now, maybe they're just asking, looking, but I'm just like, oh my God, look.
It's like air violin. He's playing the air violin.
I didn't play the piano. Nellie plays the piano.
Well, you can always hide behind the keyboard.
True, that's true.
Yeah.
Dean,
Don't look at my hands.
I thought I heard you say this once, that you couldn't actually sing with your real voice, which was actually a very nice voice, that you had to sort of like dumb down your voice to not sound as good. Is that true?
Well, when I went to I think I've said that in defense, trying to explain why this was just so hokey awful.
Defense, okay.
And I had gone to rehearse this with David Rose at his house, and he'd written this little melody, and the words had been written. I don't think David wrote the word, but someone wrote the words, and we're rehearsing this, and I'm thinking, I can really sort of croon this in a sort of a nice way. I mean, this can be a romantic thing, and of course they had playback on the stage.
Right.
And the playback started, and I've got the guitar in my hand, and I start to sing, and Michael comes up to me and said, no. You're not doing it like that. I want hillbilly bad here.
Oh, no.
And I said, oh, come on. I mean, I'd like to have some kind of a possibility of singing sometime. And he said, no, it's going to be, you're going to do it bad. And by God, I just leaned into those consonant sounds.
Yeah, the twang.
The twangy thing.
Twang.
And it was the right decision for the show.
Yeah.
I think. But it was sort of really disappointing in that moment. And, but, okay. You're not going to question, I didn't question anything.
No,
but in the books, have you ever heard the real Oringus Wilder, anyone mention, oh yes, Almanzo, boy, could he play that guitar and sing? No, that does seem to have never come up.
This was like
apparently he did not play the guitar.
I think this was one of Michael's additions to the
But
character.
I love that, because it gave him a little extra element of, ooh, he's talented too. He's handsome and talented.
Well, not really.
Sort of talented.
Sort of talented.
Sort of.
Not really, yeah.
Not really that talented.
But I loved working on that with David Rose and going to his house with his, the famous railroad thing, the model railroad thing that he had going, and the train engines in his studio with his little tiny upright piano. David did not compose on some Steinway. He composed on like a 2-octave piano.
Wow.
And it was this sort of, tinny sounding, but that's where he wrote all of those.
Why didn't the man buy himself a Steinway?
He could have bought anything he wanted. This is just where maybe he sort of was tapping into his inner child, maybe whatever it was. but he did do his work on this little upright piano that was really not a great sounding instrument.
It's incredible.
And when his orchestrator got a hold of everything, it all turned into this beautiful thing. But those melodies came out of that head. David Rose was when you Alison, you met David through the year. I mean, David was a very romantic character, and he had a gentleness about him. And as Alison may know more about this than I do in terms of, but quite the ladies' man too.
He was married to Judy Garland. He was married to Judy Garland at one point.
Yeah.
Yes.
He married her when she was 19 years old.
And I don't think he was her first husband. Wasn't she married before? She's like a teenager.
And it was David's second wife.
Second wife, and I think she was
married to Greer Garson or something. Was it that who it was?
Somebody like that, completely really outlandish. Yes. Yeah, he was married to stars. He was married to Judy Garland, and he did. And the choo-choo train, you could ride the choo-choo train if you were small. I rode the choo-choo train at least once around the house.
Did he ever come to set?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Rarely, but he
and
did
sometimes if you were looping, if you went into the other studio, the orchestra was there, and you could watch them put down some of the track music.
Well, so would you see on some orchestra sessions?
Oh, absolutely.
God, and how amazing.
And David was conducting a 60-piece orchestra on the stage in this recording studio, and nobody at home ever heard this music like that. It was absolutely incredible to watch that scoring stage with all the marks that would show up on the screen and the cueing. And these musicians, you have to realize how great these studio players are.
Yeah.
They pick up the music, they put it down in front of them, and they play it, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid coming in for looping, and I come around the corner and went, oh my God.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Orchestra.
Well, and also what I love about his music too, and especially like you said, the B story in this is that window pane story, which is hilarious. But also, like, where did he come up with that? It's just so funny, and it still works. It's genuinely funny.
It's funny.
It's so clever. But David Rose's music also can have so much humor to it, and it just adds to the comedic elements whenever there is a comedic episode or comedic qualities in an episode.
Yes.
My villain theme.
Yes, so good. So good.
Okay, so when she attacks Brenda Sue in the street in front of her kids that she's teaching and everyone and everybody's mother, she gets up and they've got dirt on their faces and clawing each other in the street. But why? Our makeup people were so good, so I'm not sure what possessed someone that day. She has this weird smear of dirt on her face, and it's like Harry Potter freaking lightning bolt on her forehead. Why does Laura have a Harry Potter lightning bolt of dirt?
I don't know. What were they doing in the makeup department, dude? Sometimes it's so off. It's like jarring.
That? Why would they just go, here, let me draw this on you? Who decided that was the dirt for that?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't, because you'd think, because they took Polaroids of everything.
Anyone see. There's a continuity person. What?
Yeah,
why?
So this was just a decision that got made. And I think just off the top of my head, I'm thinking it just it adds to that sort of innocent, guileless quality that the show has, where it's maybe a little clumsy in places, but you just buy in.
Yeah, right.
You just buy in. You say, okay, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Or was it also we were supposed to realize how ridiculous she was being, and like, who could take this woman seriously, screaming at everybody with the thing drawn on her face?
Yeah.
I'm looking at my notes, and I can't believe I forgot this is the first thing on my notes, and I will be damned if I don't talk about it, which is...
Don't be damned.
Dean, bath time.
Shut up, yes. Oh my God, did you see that?
Dean.
I almost took screen captures the other night.
In a bubble bath moment, I almost died.
I almost took pictures of it and put them up on Facebook and went, what am I watching?
Towels.
Yep. That is a hashtag imaginary boyfriend moment if I ever saw one before. How does that make you feel, Dean?
Oh, look, it's fun. And the dialogue was such a Michael. It was such a Michael kind of a throwaway aside humor. Oh, great! I can use a sheet, but I'll probably go to sleep tonight with a towel. You know,
Right.
I mean, that was such Michael humor. Now, he didn't, I'd see, he did write that one. No.
This
Yes,
episode
no?
is super funny.
We
Was it Ballack?
said that was Don. We said that was Don Ballack.
Well-
Right. So Don wrote that, but Michael rewrote
He always
everything.
rewrote
So,
Yeah.
everything.
yeah, I'm sure that's the kind of thing that he would have, that was definitely his sound. That had a rhythm of his in it.
All I know is that we've seen you in the ice bath, but your chest was covered. We
Yeah,
saw
right.
we
Right.
saw the manly arms, but not the chest. But this one is full on,
Yeah,
the
you're naked.
the hairy chest and all that. And I'm sure that
very exposing
Yeah,
Dean
yeah.
Butler.
Yeah. Well, you know, but for a guy, it was like, you know, you've been in swimsuits your whole life. It's like that's not a big deal.
I know, but for the viewers,
Maybe
who
for the
don't
viewer it
see-
is, but to
who
do
don't
it is
see-
not a big deal.
I mean, to see a bare arm on Little House on the Prairie was like, oh my God, sexy time. So then to see a full, like, man chest and arms
Yeah.
and knees
Yeah.
is like, it was very like, oh my God, touch the pearls.
And that time period, 1980, is when if you're a guy on a show, you're trying to be in 16 magazine and Tiger Beat and all the teens. So, shirtless pic. There's the poster
Yeah.
that week. Hello, here it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, we did. I did those. I was in all those. I was in Tiger Beat and Team Beat with Matt and Pat Labrato.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we were doing this. We were doing layouts together for those
Right.
When
magazines.
you were
the Man
doing
of Little House.
Okay, so
The
when
man.
you were doing those shoots for like Tiger Beat, were you like in your head? Were you like, oh yeah, I've made it. Like this is it.
Well, that was the
boy,"
first
or
kind of
ew.
thing like that I'd experienced. So it was, it was pretty. It was, it's cool. I mean, it's a fun. All that stuff is, all that's gone now. But at the time, that was sort of a rite of, or a passage point.
Yes.
For young guys to be
Totally.
in that situation. And I think everybody showed up in those things at some point. If you
Yep.
were on television, you did those magazines.
Totally.
I lived in a bikini from like about 78 on.
did.
It was
Yeah,
like,
boy.
what the hell?
did.
And,
What a
but
package.
that was the thing. It was alternated between awesome, the world will see my beauty and everyone will love me, and cringe, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
life
yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, you were always in a bikini in
I
all
tried.
of these photos. VOD to kill, but still in a bikini all the time.
trying to get those hot chick in the show jobs,
That's right.
you know,
That's
like
right.
come be a hot chick on Dynasty or something.
Okay, so then you said for the dinner scene,
Yeah.
the stew was undercooked,
Right.
the soup was cold. Is that in real life or was that in the scene?
Oh no, that was in the scene. We talked about
Right,
that.
yes.
I mean, we talked about. Now, I don't remember. Actually, I did eat some of the food. But I don't remember. I don't have a memory of what the temperature of the
heck?
food was. But I'm sure Dean Wilson, our prop person, would have put the food on the table cold. I mean, it's like that's what he would have done. That would have helped the reaction.
Right.
And so that's what that was. But it just went to full. It just went from like zero. It wasn't like,
So how would you have done it? Like, tell me, give me your.
I think it would be.
Like, if you
I
could
think it
redo
would
it,
be.
what would you have done?
Well,
Yeah.
married today, I don't know that I would have said a word about it.
Sure.
That's right. Hello, good answer. Bap.
And now, if Catherine asked, "Is it hot enough?" and if I were given that opening to comment, I say,
Sure.
maybe we could heat this up a little bit. That would be, but today, let's go in, drop it in the microwave for 45 seconds, and you're
Right.
all set.
Right.
Could you maybe nuke it for a minute? It's a little, it's gotten a little cool.
But but in that situation,
Back then.
it went to from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds, and it's like, oh my God, are these people going to survive this?
No.
They can't get
We
through dinner.
were not fighting like two people who were committed to being together.
Well, you were fighting like kids. I mean,
Okay, well that's true. We were fighting like kids, where you go
Totally
from 0
like
to 100,
children.
and then you're devastated. Well, later in the
Yeah.
episode, after she leaves, he's sort of moping around the house, and he's picking up her nightgown and looking at it and thinking about her, and so all of that, and she's like devastated that he's, having this fling with Brenda Sue Longworth, but he knows all along that it's that it has nothing to do with anything. And so the audience at least knows where his heart is. They know that he's in. As we played it, it was harder to tell that. Well, in those moments.
I get it, though. The dinner thing, because he's like being very childish. Why is my food this, and why isn't this, and why isn't that, blah, 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 you take it again. And she's like, but I had a friend who used to refer to it, and he cracked me up. He said, yes, you know what we call 5 o'clock? What? The divorce hour. And he called 5 to 6 o'clock the divorce hour. He was an attorney. And I said, what? He says, people come home around that time. Everyone's hungry. Their blood sugar is crashing. They're tired. If they had a bad day, they're feeling their worst about the bad day. They haven't had time to process it. So the guy's like, oh my God, I'm starving. Why isn't it? And she's like, do not even talk to me about your freaking dinner. And that's the moment that both people are in the worst possible mood. They're going to be in all day. Is it that moment with blood sugar and everything else? And that is when people want to murder each other, is right around 5 o'clock. And he said, it's totally normal. I said, 6 or 7. Everybody's like had something to eat. They're fine. But boom, the divorce hour. I thought you captured it.
I call IKEA the divorce maker. I call
IKEA
the divorce maker. It is the divorce maker.
So
you go to IKEA, it's huge.
Yes.
It's overwhelming. You might not know what you want. You might get overwhelmed by the choices. You might disagree on what you want. It is a terrible place for relationships. It is
going round
the worst.
in circles.
I have been in the IKEA too many times where I was like, we are breaking up officially.
When we get the Sven, I don't like that one. Just pick a sofa. I don't care.
There is something about an IKEA. I've called it the divorce maker for years. Thank God
Just
there
pick
wasn't
one.
on the Prairie. Laura and Almanzo would never have survived the IKEA back then.
Because you have to go downstairs and just get some Swedish meatballs and take a moment, and then you can go back in. It's the otherwise.
Yeah, he just needed his blood sugar raised. That's all.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I mean, just on a personal note, when Catherine and I go shopping together, I want to get into a store. I make decisions really quickly.
Quick.
Yeah. Oh, Catherine does not love to shop, but she has to look at everything to make the right decision. And whether it's like picking out the right tomato or the right glass, it is a very laborious process. And I know I have found myself at times saying, oh, come on. Yes. It's
the tomato is fine.
It's fine.
Do not step into an IKEA together then.
No.
We don't do that. Yeah, we haven't gone to IKEA much.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm warning you
because
right
it takes
now.
forever. Because there's this path you can't leave. You can't leave. You're trapped. And you're like, okay, I'm done. We picked the couch. We're done. We picked the couch. How do we get out of here? You have to follow the arrows
then
and
you
keep
have to
going through all the
circle
other
the entire
departments.
store. Yes, to get out. You are trapped in
Nightmare.
the IKEA.
We need to take a quick break, and then we need to wrap this up.
Yes, because we're insane.
These are the important things.
I know,
people.
but we're running out of time because Tony's got a show in 13
Oh my God! Yes, we have to
All
go.
right,
we have to
let's
do
it.
things.
We're
Let's
taking
do
a
a
break. We'll be right back, everybody, with more talk about IKEA. No, I'm just joking. We're talking about divorce.
It's so true.
Walnut Grove
It's so
style.
true.
Come back. All right. Hi, everybody. We're back. We've discussed IKEA ad nauseum, and now we're back to Walnut Grove, divorce Walnut Grove style. Now we're in sort of Act 2 of this.
Well, we're into Act 4 now, given the time that we have. Yeah. I mean, I love the way Michael structured this, or the Don and Michael structured this, and that turning point moment at the end of. Okay, so when end of Act 3, when what happens at the end of? I've got it noted here. End of Act 3. That's get in the wagon. Oh no, so as we race towards the end of Act 3, we have Mrs. Olson, who is spreading rumors about the breakup. Nels, who gets a little ticked off and cuts the wire, which is really fun watching them go at it.
That switchboard was so much fun.
And then
She's
Ma
awful.
finally is, and then Pa and Almanzo run into each other on the road, and everything sounds fine. But Ma is finally convinced that there's a problem because she reads the My Only Love, Brenda Sue Longworth.
Backs Laura up, says, "You're right. Got to ditch this guy. Get him out. Out he goes."
Yeah, and then Pa has come around, and so now we're off to the Wilder house to hear a bad singing of My Only Love, and that quick little. I mean, you sort of hear Michael was a man of the world and talking about divorce and you're going to be here for the evening and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that was very un-Charles way he said all that, but it was, he was covering that point and Ma's convinced and everything's fine. And then they
were going to put him out. Her parents were going to back her up and put his stuff out on the curb, which I kind of liked. That they were like, we're going over with you. We're just going over with you now.
And you know what's funny? This is the first time I actually thought, like, what would actually happen if that happened? Like, this is a young woman who, like, what story would they have told to save her, honor or her, like, that would have been bad. That would have been really bad at that time.
To make, if they really did 1800s. Come apart.
Yes.
Well, he was a cad. He was a cad.
Major. Yeah. I will say Brenda Sue deserved to get beaten up in this episode. She's horrible. She's a little braggart about her song.
Yes.
And then she's flirty with Almanzo.
Right.
And then she's like snippy with Laura. And she deserved that mudslinging that she got.
She could have just saying. Yeah, she could have just, I'm not his girlfriend. It's a thingy to the song I wrote. No, she could have cleared it all up right there and then.
No.
I love Karen's "You will be silent."
Yes.
I mean, it's like Ma stepping in.
Because Laura
really
was in full Jerry
great.
Springer mode.
Yeah.
And Ma was like, "Where is your dignity?"
Not having this.
Yes.
We've got to get control of this. No,
yes.
and then, okay, I mean, we're all over the place at the end as we're racing for the exit here, but I love at the end when the glass gets broken for the third time because Brenda Sue is running away from Laura, and then the end of the show is Pa. Everything's back together again, and Pa's putting the old window back in the slot. And love is
music.
fine. And there's Laura and Almanzo have made up, and Almanzo's playing the guitar badly, and everything's good.
And their relationship is perfect again.
Everything's back on track.
It's fine.
All queued up for the next fight over the next cold stew.
Yeah. They mellowed out. They figured it out.
Yeah.
In time, they definitely figured it out. But yeah, that
it was a Valentine's Day story. The end was a Valentine thing, and this is why we're here on Valentine's Day.
My only love.
Yes, my only love.
We get Almanzo in a bath and the window pane.
Totally worth it.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Who needs anything else? And then, if you're lucky, a bowl of popcorn, and call it a day.
Bring on the popcorn. Maybe that's Laura and Almanzo didn't have popcorn in bed. That's the problem, Charles.
We did once.
And it improved the relationship, no doubt. As we saw.
It was one of the nicer scenes we did together in bed. I mean, bed scenes were not. That's another story for another day. We need to race for the exit.
Oh
now.
my God, you are so leaving us on a cliffhanger. All right, that's cruel, but I guess it'll make people come back next week.
Okay,
well, maybe we'll talk about Dean and Melissa's bedroom scenes.
I don't think that's going to be number 48 on the list.
But maybe at some point
it'll come up.
We'll hear about it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'll be serious now. Thank you. And remember, whatever you do, don't go to IKEA with your partner. And if Little House on the Prairie has taught you nothing else, it's that.
Yes.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yes,
please follow us on our socials, Little House 50 Podcast, our website, littlehouse50podcast.com. Like and subscribe, tell your friends. And if you're not on Patreon, for gosh sakes, join us. We have so much fun, don't we?
Yes,
we really do. And we'll be back next week. And have a great week, everyone. All right, Bob, let's get the wig. Let's fly, everyone. Never gets old.
Bye, everyone.